Hello, everybody. It's my pleasure to have a moment to say something in remembrance and recollection of our friend and loved one, Dr. Marius, whom I often and most often called Bert, not out of disrespect, but just because we were collegial like that. But my real feelings were oftentimes more of Bert as being a father or a big brother. The thoughts I have about him are mostly from the church and from things we did at church. But our relationship began almost 25 years ago at the hospital, where when I first got to Fresno, and some of the first questions people asked me was, did I know or was I related to Dr. Marius? And of course I was, who was Dr. Marius, which I soon found out. And of course he was one of the most hyper energetic, gregarious guys I'd ever met. And he was a joy from the beginning. I wish I had been able to work with him more, but he was over at cardiovascular surgery, and I was doing obstetrics and gynecology. But we had a lot in common because when we started comparing notes, I had done my first years of training in cardiovascular surgery in Houston at the Texas Medical Center with Dr. DeBakey and Denton Cooley and all those guys whom he was very well familiar with, and those guys all were pioneers in cardiovascular surgery. So we had a great common background. But really what brought us together was my discovering at a late juncture in my life that I had to go and pursue this knowledge and this relationship with Jesus Christ, which when I wandered over to Family Community Church, he was more than happy to fill that gap. And he did that for many, many years at a great, great level. And I'm the huge beneficiary of that, as were so many of us, maybe all of us actually at some level or another. So that is my beginning of the story that remains with me, will forever remain with me about Bert. One of the wonderful things about our present day digital revolution is that we can all go to the digital library now and pull up these videos that we've been seeing circulating over the last week or two, which are fantastic because nobody can tell Bert's story like Bert can, and of course they're wonderful, and so they will remind us forever, and he'll live on forever like he never went anywhere. I think when we look at that stuff, which is kind of great, and I just appreciate everyone who shares in these memories and this appreciation for Bert, that we can do this together and remember this together, and just reflect on the fact that we've been blessed together. And lastly, I'd like to say that thinking about some words from a fellow graduate of Morehouse of mine, Dr. King, he talked about the drum major principle or instinct, and I'd like to label Bert as somebody who truly had that drum major instinct. It was present almost all the time with people who went into medicine because they were highly competitive. They wanted to be the best. They wanted to beat out everybody. And when Bert talks about his early years, he talks about being just like that. And that was okay and not okay. But what happened was really good in the end was because his instinct was then transferred after being saved and wonderfully saved into applying that same enthusiasm to being a drum major for Jesus Christ. And that's what he really did for the rest of his life. And I remember him being so excited when he retired from practicing medicine that he could now apply his whole life to doing nothing but that. And it made for a wonderful, wonderful life. And thanks for everybody.